So welcome back to the Catalyst series. My name is Dipit Sharma. I'm from Shulani Online. Every week, it is our objective to get speakers like Atma here to come and interact with you all and give you a perspective of what different industries and what different job functions there are in your career perspectives, and get you a good understanding of what your life could be like. So I want to introduce Atma now. He's got a dynamic background spanning engineering and human resources. Atma Godara brings a unique blend of technical expertise and people-centric skills to the table. He's got a bachelor of engineering and information technology from Punjab Engineering College, PEC, in Chandigarh, and a master's in HRM and LR from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, TIS, in Mumbai. Atma's journey showcases a seamless transition from the world of technology to the realm of human capital management. Throughout his career, he has excelled in various HR roles across diverse industries, from startups to conglomerates. His expertise encompasses a wide array of functions, including HR business partnering, executive coaching, compensation of benefits, program management, and, of course, digital transformation. With a keen eye for talent management and leadership development, Atma is passionate about solving complex people problems and fostering growth in fast-paced environments. In his last 15 years, Atma has worked at some incredible organizations such as Samsung, BHEL, Reliance Industries, Oyo, and currently he's leading the human resource function for the production arm of Netflix India. So thank you, Atma. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll pass it over to you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dipit, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, everyone, on this conversation today. So we have 40 to 45 odd minutes. I will keep 5 minutes as reserved for your next conversation or next call, so that you don't reach late for the next one. I will make sure that we should have always a good buffer.
You can, because we usually schedule this towards this time of the day, because we always go beyond limit, right? Because the sessions are usually 60 minutes, but the Q&A, the students, sometimes we have to physically stop the questions, because kids are very curious, and especially given your credentials, I'm sure they will have a lot of questions. So no worry about time. This is as free flowing as it gets.
No, definitely, but I have another hard stop at 4, so we'll be mindful about that. But we can take up questions later also. Yeah. We can connect through the email or LinkedIn or Twitter, and we can keep on answering the questions. So what I will do, thank you so much, Dipit, for the introduction here. What I will do, I'm just trying to look into this note which I had written a couple of days back. Okay. So we will talk about primarily the entertainment industry today, how it has been evolving, what has been happening, and how the future looks like. And how do we, how do we going to see it in the future in that sense? Yeah. Dipit, I'm just one request. I still not able to see the participants. So it's one-on-one conversations. Is it possible? Can we see them on the screen? I mean,
so what we've done, that this is a webinar format. What you could do is the attendee list that you see, right? So you can ask a question and you can select on the person and you can allow them to talk. So participants can raise their hands, and once they raise their hands, you can just select on allow to talk. Don't worry, I'm here. So whoever you want to talk to, we can ensure that that person gets a chance to talk. So you can ask the questions, we'll unmute them, and they'll get a chance to talk.
Perfect. So I have to allow it once they raise the hand. Cool, got it. Yeah. So no,
yes,
perfect. So as I was saying, let's keep the format in a way that I will speak about for next 30 or 5 odd minutes about how the industry has been evolving and how the future looks like. And then rest say 15-20 odd minutes, you'll take up all the questions which all of you have in this sense. Having said that, let's start from, let me sort of take a step back. Let's go to 1970s. I think 1970s was the first time, and for the first time, HBO started becoming a big thing back in America. And when I say HBO, primarily that was I would say the birth of the what do you call the cable TV, what we know. That was the um inception of the cable TV back then, and it started as a very small experiment somewhere in Midwest US, but then it blossomed the way we all know, especially people from my generation who have been we in 90s we all the dish TV of course came a little later, but during that time or before that cable TV used to be a prominent thing, and we used to call the cable person, these are the channels which I want on my TV for this season, or some cricket World Cup is starting, so on and so forth. That's what it has. That's how it has been in that sense. And when I'm saying entertainment, I'm primarily focusing only on the I'm coming to the word, which is video on demand, but I'm focusing only on the visual side of the entertainment I'm talking about. There are thousand others streams which I will not be talking here, but I'm happy to talk and discuss if you have anything in mind. From there, what happens? There's entire uh, thing which comes up called the VHS, and the VHS tape which came during the same point of time. It came a little later in India again, I think late 80s or 90s, and it started coming a little earlier back in US. And in 90s, there was this what do you call, for lack of good word, monopoly player back in US called Blockbuster. So now, if any of you who have uh, was in US in say 90s or early 2000s, or have a cousin or a friend there, you just tell them about Blockbuster. They will, without even a second, they'll say, just Blockbuster. Of course, we know. So Blockbuster was like, for a, I don't know, maybe Amul of those times. It was that common as a commodity to be accessed, and they had around 60,000 stores across the US, the entire all the states. Of course, it had its fair share of problems, and this was a very important time. What was happening back at that point of time? It was 1995, 96, 97, which was the birth of internet. Now, what was happening so far? People used to go to the store, they used to pick up a DVD, they used to pay late rentals and stuff, so on and so forth. But at that point of time, Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph, they started Netflix. And they're like, okay, how do we go about it? So they try to understand what are the pain points of people. So people were fed up of paying hefty rental charges. And sometimes, they have to go to the store to pick up the VHS tape or the DVDs. The DVDs just started coming in. So when the DVDs started coming in, the idea was that, can we use the most robust network of the country, which we also have in our country, is the postal system, the US postal system, and sort of ship the DVDs to the people. There was one aspect of Netflix which nobody talks about. The success stories, of course, the tech platform which was developed and deployed, where people had an option to go on the website and select the DVDs which they want to watch and get delivered. But another important aspect and very interesting aspect is the US postal system, which ensured that it gets delivered to people's homes the way it should be. That's how it started, and eventually Blockbuster also followed. They started to launch their website, and eventually it died down. There are very good books and podcasts and series which you can listen, but there's a different story, which is Blockbuster versus Netflix, the business wars which you talk about. Say Nike versus Adidas. These are like one of the classic corporate war, which is a very, very interesting story to cover and talk about. So that's the transition, what I'm talking about, the entire cable to VHS to now DVD, but which is backed by the internet. So the internet is still in the evolving phase. We are still getting into the phase of, say a pilot episode will be done. If it is a successful after the launch, the creator will be given rights, not the remuneration, for the remaining episodes, and they will do season 1 and they'll go to season 2, so on and so forth. So that was the era which was happening at back then, and eventually Netflix gets into the internet, I would say, fringiness in 2007, and they started becoming the host of. So for example, you still have the cable TV, but you are waiting for Friends season 7, but you don't remember what has happened in the last 6 years. So Netflix is the go-to place for anyone and everyone to watch the previous 6 seasons. Now it is working for the creator of Friends, for example, because they were getting money, they were being paid by Netflix. It was working for the audiences because they have to do the revision before the next series comes in. And it also worked for the cable TV because when the more the people do the revision, the more they will come to the cable TV to watch the new series, which is still not available on Netflix. Yeah, so that's how it has worked for everyone, and they used to call Netflix effect, a term which is used and misused in corporates in different contexts. That how Netflix effect worked for the competition, for the client, for the audiences, and also for the Netflix itself. I will take a pause there before I talk about the next pivotal moment because we have a question from Romesh. Yeah, Romesh, please go ahead. Romesh,
कोई question आपका? You want to ask something? Okay, I think it might have
okay.
just, yeah.
Cool. No worries. So now we are, Romesh, I think, no, it's still there. Okay. Now we are at a stage where, and this is the year I'm talking about 23. And this is a very, very interesting stage because what is happening now is there's this guy called David Fincher. Now, David Fincher wants to make something called House of Cards, a web series which he wants to come up. But and of course, who's betting him? MGM, the Warner Brothers, and Sony, all the bigs of the world. But the model stays the same. That you come and do the pilot episode. If it would be a hit, we will do a sort of what do you call tie up or an arrangement for the season 1. One person who decides not to join this meeting, this person is Ted Sarandos, who's the current co-CEO of Netflix. But what does he do? He meets David Fincher separately the next day. And when both of them meet, Ted tells David Fincher that, okay, I'm not one of the big players, what we have met yesterday's conversation, but here is what I'm giving you. I'm giving you the guarantee. Okay, of course, this is what the base we have. The people are watching us. All of them watching the licensed content, but we want to get into the original content. We want to make something of our own. And this is the promise I have. But what is it? Everybody's in the favorite American thing that what is it in for me? So that he says, okay, I'm promising you not one pilot episode, but 2 seasons, season 1 and season 2 upfront. Okay. And I'm paying you today for everything, whatever I am promising you, $100 million will be transferred into your bank account. So that was the revolution which happened 10 years back, and we know rest is the history, be it binge watching or skip intro or the tiles, and innovation came after the game. Now we're talking about another pivotal moment is called the S word, streaming video, subscribe video on demand, and then A word is advertisement and so on and so forth. Yeah, T word, transactional video on demand. So word is the new thing which started 10 years back, video on demand. And this is one of the pivotal moment because if I have to watch in the regular system a particular episode of a particular series, I have to wait for a particular day. Yeah. But what the word has done, it is on demand. I mean, I have my smartphone, I have my laptop, I have the connected television, whatever I want to watch, whenever I want to watch. So it's, the shift is happening from the creator or the service provider to the consumer. How the ball has been shifted. So for example, if say a couple of years back, when say Mission Impossible when came, we knew the date was getting released. We had to go to the theater and go and watch the film there. But if you talk about something say Heart of Stone or say Red Notice, when it is there, you have the similar experience. Now people have big houses. With big houses, people have big TVs, so on and so forth. So that experience has totally shifted. And pandemic has played a big role where people, realize that, okay, I don't have to go to theater to watch a movie. Rather, I set up a good system at home, and people are still going. We have had seen some of the biggest hits in the previous years, but there's a shift in the mindset that, how do I go about it? So this is the major shift which has been happening in this industry primarily. Then what happened during COVID? All the players so Apple TV Plus, Amazon Prime Video, Peacock, Hulu, ESPN Plus, Disney Star, Disney Hotstar, all of them have come into. They thought this is the most amazing place to be, the most profitable. But soon everybody realized that burning money was not going to help them. I don't remember the exact number, but I think Disney Plus is still making losses of $2 to $3 billion every year. Vis-a-vis Netflix is investing around $15 to $18 billion every year in the content, and they are having content in what all the languages which you might think of. They have content with all the subs and dubs, subtitles and the dubs. And whatever comes up, it is getting released in 199 odd countries simultaneously. See, so what I'm talking about here, the benefit of being the first mover. It's primarily the first mover advantage, but also ensuring that the advantage stays the same. This is the shift has been happening in this industry. Now, creating content is one part. Then there's the entire ecosystem which comes with the content. Content is one part. Then you have the technology, which is the second part. In the technology, you have the sound, for example, or you have third vertical, which is completely the music, which comes into the place, or you have the entire facility of post-production. You have the entire branch of visual effects. Apparently, there are only, if I'm not wrong, 150,000 VFX professional in the world who are there. Such a rare skill to have, and whatever you watch, primarily all the films from US also, majority of the VFX work is done in Mumbai. India is one of the market leader when it comes to the visual effects. It's not only Pathan and Round what we are seeing here, but a lot of work what we see in the film, like the latest Mission Impossible or any other film from the US, a lot of work has been done. So when we talk about entertainment, primarily the film industry, be it Hindi, English, or any other language, we always think that the career or the prospectus for someone could be in the space of, either they have to be in front of the camera or behind the camera. Either you have to act in that series or film, or you have to be a creator, say director or DOP, say director of photography, so on and so forth. But there's such a huge ecosystem which has developed around it. One set of people who are pure technical people, they don't have any business with entertainment. Second set of people who come from a music background, as I was saying. The third set of people who are, say, the graphic designers, because the game is not only about creating that content, but how uniquely you display it on your platform, on your on your application, what kind of billboards you're putting. So the entire production team, on the physical side also, so while people are watching it on their digital platform, most of it has been marketed through the physically also. So this is how this ecosystem has been developing. And then one other interesting aspect which was never there earlier is the entire marketing team. Now you pick up any title say at Netflix, you see, to give an example from the last year, there was a film called Archies, which came from Zoya Akhtar. If you were following what was happening around it in the country or outside the country in terms of the campaigning which was going on, the kind of brand partnerships they had it with Vistara, they had it with Starbucks, they had it with Maybelline, they had it Skybags, just name it, and they had a partnership. This entire gamut of marketing, promotions, marketing partnerships, social marketing, and for your knowledge, India's number one brand, social brand, or if I may say the digital brand, is Netflix. Across categories, be it sports, entertainment. These are the two categories I can think of when you talk about the most popular brands. It's not Nike. It's not what you call it. It's not Byju's, which we saw all the time on the t-shirt. It's not. You just think of any other brand. It's not Unilever. Not Lakme. It is Netflix. So that's how the entire ecosystem of the jobs and the market which is being created here.
Right.
Yeah.
Atma, I just want to add one thing very interesting that you mentioned that because, and this is for all our attendees as well, because I think we are living in an age where if you go on Instagram, you'll see brands commenting on posts, you see very shock and awe kind of marketing, brands collaborating. And I think Netflix was one of the first few social media handles that actually pioneered that, where, where they took engagement with their customer to a whole new level. And that was also, this was, I think, 2015, 2016. And this was so new at the time. And I think that is where that sort of chain reaction started, and that sort of changed the entire market. That changed how not only we interact with brands, but also how brands interact with each other.
Yeah, no, Divya, it's such a good point, because I think this is where the Netflix has been very pivotal, because prior to this,
Right.
the brand marketing used to be a zero-sum game. It's like you cannot talk about competition. I know I have friends who works in the beverage companies. So if this person is going from one beverage company to the campus for internal placements, you cannot place the water bottle of other beverage company. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
One person who's going from one FMCG company, you have to put biscuit of only that FMCG company. I have faced it myself being in the place and I was back in college. Even if you're keeping someone which is not from a different brand, for example, if someone is coming who is not from this organization, I will take the wrap off, but still they will identify it with the cap. And the people used to threat even to do the walkouts that okay, we'll not doing any kind of placements.
Yeah.
From those days, coming on platform, there was, I think last year there was a year in recap by Netflix, which talked about the great films and series which had captures moments from Amazon Prime Video and Disney Plus also.
Right.
It's now a positive sum game, which has been pivotal in the industry. It's a very, very interesting marketing strategy. You can fight with each other all the time, or you can build it together. I think thanks, Depi. This is a very, very interesting, very, very point here.
Pleasure. Please continue. Thank you.
Any other question we have at this point of time? And please do ask question, because see, there are things which I don't want to talk about, which you can go and Google and read on the internet. I will be only talking about things which probably are which are my lived experiences. So the more you ask, the more channel will open in terms of okay, what you want to know, what I can talk about. Rest pretty much is available on Google or any of the Gen AI platform for that matter.
Guys, please ask questions. You can also type questions in the chat. And no, Atma will not be able to give you any spoiler alerts or any timelines of any new shows coming. So let's just try keeping it in regards to HR. Even though personally, I have a lot of questions in regards to some of my favorite shows, but I think we can get to them towards the end. So if there are any questions, you can type them in the chat box, and Atma and myself would receive them directly. So I think we got a question from Parth. What makes HR in entertainment different from the other industries?
Parth is a very interesting question, and I am assuming that you are from the HR background. And see, it's very interesting because what happens in the entertainment industry, and I'm being very specific to say Mumbai and Los Angeles. Let's talk about these two locations, because it's very similar in nature. Let's forget the Singapore and Japan for the time being. What happens when you go to the entertainment industry, primarily in a corporate, be it a Netflix or Prime Video or say Disney Plus? Now, what is happening? You have two set of population there. You have one set of people who are from the finance, legal, marketing, HR, regulatory, these backgrounds, treasury, and taxation. These people who are typically come from the corporate world. Yeah, they have been there, done that. They know how the corporate functions. The second side, second vertical of any corporate in the entertainment sector, the people you are hiring, say from Dharma, from Alt Balaji, from Yashraj, from Andolan House, from Phantom, people who have worked as a freelancer all their life. Yeah, people who does not understand the concept of provident fund or earned leaves. Yeah, people who don't know how to follow those typical corporate norms. People don't know how to use those corporate jargons. So now as an HR professional, you have to make sure that how do you bring these two sets of people together and achieve the desired outcome, which is, of course, be the successful or profitable, whatever the target is. So I think this is the most interesting aspect. So you go to say pharma, you go to healthcare, you go to manufacturing, you go to renewable energy, you go to any other industry, the people, they will different in terms of qualification. In the pharma, you will find people from the pharma background. In the FMCG, you will find people from the different background. But what happens, they understand the ethos is very common. Yeah. But in entertainment industries, people who are coming from the creative world, they understand nothing of this. On the top of that, they have their ways of working, how creative people work and how the industry works. So aligning them and ensuring that, they also sort of um, share that culture. Culture is nothing but shared values and beliefs, by everyone. So bringing these two sort of people together and achieving a common goal gets, I won't say tricky, but it becomes interesting at times. I think, yeah.
Thank you so much for that. I think, Bhavya's got a very good suggestion, and I think we were also talking about that. So I think हम थोड़ी कोशिश करेंगे बीच में we'll try keeping the content English, because समझ सकते हैं कि अब बहुत सारे हमारे जो students हैं वो बहुत सारे remote location से आ रहे हैं. So Atma, if you don't mind, a little bit of Hindi here and there, that good with you?
Yeah, English language. I will try. I'm not good at it. See, English is not my primary language, to be very honest with you. But I don't feel comfortable professional
No, I
forum.
think
it doesn't come naturally. I will try. मैं कोशिश करूँगा, but it doesn't come very naturally.
I think
So
that's
my apologies there. Yeah.
No, not at all, because I think that is what most of corporate India struggles with, is that कि हम घर पे हिंदी बहुत आराम से बोल रहे थे, but English is our business language. So I think making that switch sometimes gets a bit challenging.
And Bhavya, this is, and I will, because you said such a beautiful thing. This is a curse we have to live with due to the
yes
of 200 years. Why I'm telling you a curse? Because as Dipit rightly said, घर पे I'm speaking say in Punjabi, I'm talking to my friends in Hindi, I'm thinking in a different language, but I'm talking to my friends in a different language. But मुझे ऑफिस में आके have to speak in English. Vis-a-vis my counterpart who is in US, for example, they think, act, function only in one language, and because they are the leading player in the world, we have to follow their norm. So I always ask my colleagues that, am I at a disadvantage? Are we at any disadvantage? So I never got a perfect answer to this, but ये हमारा है curse, and then गलत है सही है, that's not a debate, but we have to live with it. So this
absolutely is no, I think, and I know we're like kind of deviating from the topic, but I think that change is coming, and even at the biggest of stages, we do see big HR leaders or leaders of the C-suite now engaging more in Hindi, English for that matter, right? So thank you, Bhavya, for that suggestion.
It takes a lot to write that there, but thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Waqar is asking, how does technology affect HR in entertainment?
Waqar, I think, see, technology is an enabler. When I say enabler, basically क्या होता है कि and then I will give you with the most common example. HR में there is a department called payroll department. Now, आज से I think 15-20 years back, payroll department was the most important department. अगर आप HR में join कर रहे हो from the campus, or you are moving from the company to company, आपको payroll and something called time office, if you have heard of it. The current generation, I'm sure they don't know what is a time office. Time office is nothing but in a factory, someone who's monitoring who's coming when and who's leaving when. अगर आपको payroll और time office नहीं आता है, तो you are not fit for that role. But with the technology coming in, and of course with the changing scenario, the Gen Zs, I'm assuming a lot of you are from Gen Z, so उसके साथ क्या होता है कि technology takes care of so many things, be it in HR or finance or marketing for that matter, or be it entertainment, pharma or FMCG. तो आपका जो transactions है वो चला गया है. Now, if you are part of any conversation, if you are talking to any leader, how are you helping them using your acumen? that becomes critical here. The technology could be an enabler. Some people say the technology say jobs, they are eating up jobs. तो दोनों debate सही है अपनी जगह. If you are trying to look for non-value adding part, अगर वो that if that is your choice, अगर आपको उसमें जाना है, which is non-value adding part, office आना, doing certain tasks, then living in the evening, which could be replaceable, then technology is a threat for you. But if you think no, technology is an enabler in sense कि it will take care of my very basic thing. अभी हम मीटिंग कर रहे हैं तो साथ में हम लोग नोट्स लेते हैं पेन के साथ, right? But there are so many tools. They will summarize this entire meeting and send notes to us. एक इंसान का टेक्निकली जॉब कम हो गया ना, मीटिंग में जब दो एग्जीक्यूटिव बात कर रहे होते हैं, so they also have two people who are taking notes. But using tool, that is not required. So it works both ways, I would say. And if you ask my personal experience and opinion, it has been effective positively only. Last thing, I think, let me give you a practical example in the industry specific from the technology. Okay, so what happens in entertainment industry, especially Netflix, Amazon, they work in a fashion that, at least in India, they tie up with someone else who's creating content for them. अभी क्या होता है, धर्मा प्रोडक्ट कंटेंट बनाएगा या यशराज कंटेंट बनाएगा, you watch Sacred Games by आंदोलन हाउस, you watch आर्चीज by टाइगर बेबी, तो अलग लोग कंटेंट बनाते हैं. Now you know how typically these people work. They bring around 150-200 people together for one project, काम हो जाता है, then they go out. I mean, now these people are not the regular or on-roll employees, if I may say, of say any of the OTT platform service with Amazon Prime Video or Netflix. अगर आपके on-roll लोग नहीं है तो उनको मैनेज करना, ensure करना कि they are safe, या फिर उनका साथ कुछ प्राइमरली आप क्या बेसिक्स क्या देखते हो, harassment, mental health, safety, I should let me use safety, physical safety, mental safety, and their payments. अगर आपके पास टेक्नोलॉजी है, so it is helping you in a way to monitor and help ensuring कि हो रहा है. अगर ये सब काम पेपर वर्क से करोगे, और उनका जो प्रिंसिपल एम्प्लॉयर है, जो इस केस में से एनी ऑफ द प्रोडक्शन हाउस है, how well they are doing this job, you are not aware of it, because अगर मैनुअल हो रहा हो तो आपको भी पता ही चलेगा इसके बारे में. So I think that's how it is helping, and I was thinking of a practical example. So I think this is how it has been helping. I think we have Parth. Next question.
Parth got one more question. How do employees manage stress in high pressure situations?
Yeah, no, very, very, very valid question. Very important question, and it couldn't be more timely, Parth. There's a very famous thought leader. His name is Jeffrey Pfeffer, and I would recommend all of you to read him. He's a great leader, thinker, I would say, not a leader. He's a thinker. उनका एक पेपर था, रिसर्च पेपर, couple of years back. It's called Death by Paycheck. Yeah, it is again in news because I think couple of days back, Wall Street पे banker who's 35 years old has died of overwork.
Yeah.
So it is high time that we talk about mental health. वो नहीं होता है. I mean, typically organization में बहुत मुश्किल होता है. People don't even address कि ऐसा कुछ चीज भी है. There was an unfortunate incident in McKinsey also a couple of weeks back. So it's a very, very important thing. तो उसका तरीका बड़ा simple होता है. देखो बताता. If you are a manager, you should encourage your people to talk about it. Even if you are in a high stressful situation, if you encourage people to talk, it takes care of a lot of the burden they have on their minds. देखो दो ऑप्शन होते हैं. एक तो आप उनको burden reduce कर दोगे, extra लोग hire कर लोगे, well-being initiative ले आओगे. वो तो एक option है. That might not be in your hand as a manager or as a colleague. दूसरा तरीका क्या होता है कि you give them that environment, if somebody is your colleague, somebody is your manager, or if you're someone's manager, that they can trust you and they can talk about it. Sometimes what happens जब लोग आके बात करते हैं तो other people make fun of them also. So I think being a little sensitive could be a very good start. And then of course there are so many initiatives which are taken by the employer. First and foremost, there should be an EAP partner, this employee assistance program. If any of the employees they are under any stress, they can reach out to a counselor or a therapist. So these are the initiatives which are being taken by so many employers. But as at an individual level, I would say it's ensuring giving people that safe space. They can talk about their stressful situations. And second, trusting each other that, okay, if somebody is sharing it with me, how can I, so, even the giving someone lending here takes care of half of the problem. Shruti is asking a very interesting question from her iPhone. How do you handle contracts and negotiation with talent? Shruti, I am not the right person to answer because I don't have the first-hand experience. It usually a team called legal or usually business team, business affairs team. They usually work with them. I understand your question may be asking because कि आप corporate में लोगों को hire करते हो तो उनका previous CTC होता है तो you do the negotiation की अच्छा 30% hike मिलेगा और आप दिल्ली से बॉम्बे मूव कर रहे हो 10% रियल एस्टेट का मिलेगा तो हाउ डू यू डू इन द इंडस्ट्री विच इज वेरी अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड इट्स नॉट एन ऑर्गेनाइज्ड इंडस्ट्री किसी का अभी राजकुमार राव का पिछली कम फिल्म के लिए सिटी से तो नहीं होगा आई गेट यू मे बी दैट इज द क्वेश्चन आई एम अंडरस्टैंडिंग इन दैट केस क्या होता है इट इज वेरी सिंपल दे हैव अ मार्केट रेट इट फ्लक्चुएट्स अ लॉट वैसे मार्केट रेट यू मस्ट हैव रेड की Hrithik Roshan was paid 100 crores for Fighter. If the fighter does well, he might ask 200 crores for the next film. Yeah. And it flops badly, then even if people he say give me 80 crores, people are like, what 80 crores? You haven't done anything good in life. So a good producer like Sanjay Leela Bansali Kanjur might get him in 50 crores also. So it's a very unorganized market, and it's like who's ruling what. You must have seen एक film किसी का hit होता है. And the other irony of this industry, which is not applicable to any other industry, that you cannot talk about gender parity gap. I had talked a lot about it in the beginning, then I realized, oh, this is not the place because unfortunately, all the films they are driven by one person. Yeah, India, US, anywhere, and the primary talent is the one person who's pulling all the crowd. So if the Pathan is bringing in you 1,000 crore ka business, तो उसमें से उसका 90% credit will be with Shahrukh Khan, not with the director, not with the female lead, not with other characters, so on and so forth. उसमें क्या होगा कि ऑटोमेटिकली उसका जो मैक्सिमम पाई जाएगा, which say I don't know, maybe I don't have the number, say 400 crores will be given to Shahrukh Khan. और बाकी लोगों का the female lead might be getting, Nayanthara might be getting 20 crores. I'm saying I don't know the number, but I'm assuming. So this is the unfortunate state. And in this industry, you cannot talk about gender parity gap. I mean, no matter how much you try, no matter how much you wish, but it's not about the gender. It's primarily driven by one person, and there have been very less instances that that person has been female. Unfortunately, that one person turns out to be male in most of the cases. I hope I have answered your question. Do let us know in the chat if. How does HR manage the company's public image? Simran, it's a very, very important question, and the word what we use it for called employer branding. So employer branding is very important to today's day and time to attract the talent, not from the competitors, but from the campuses, to get the slot zero in the campuses, to ensure you get the best talent, they stay with you, their family appreciates you. Employer branding is another topic. We can talk about it endless in some other conversation. I think it's just an entire whole new chapter in itself.
I think we are down to our last 10 minutes. So what we can do is we can get Atma to answer a few questions, and then we can ask him some questions in regards to his role, how his career has been, and some cool stories perhaps from Netflix that he's allowed to share with us. So we can go to that, because I know that a lot of you also want to know the glam part of his job. So we've got Subhajit asking the technological effect in marketing, sales, and IT. What is the technological advancement happening regarding the finance department, and how could we progress and grow as an individual?
See, I think the biggest change which I have seen in the finance departments in terms of technology in my career at least is that how do you sort of link the couple of departments which otherwise work independently, say your controller, your accounting, your internal audit, your regulatory, and your taxation. Usually, all these departments work standalone, but they are interacting with various regulatory bodies outside the company also. Now, before there was any technology which was in place, they're still talking independently. But क्या होता है कि everybody has access to everybody else, other departments' data through use of technology. I think that is the biggest. But you're talking about in terms of individual. I think being tech savvy is non-negotiable with any function. But if you are asking me about doing a certification, a course in technology, which would help you in finance side, I'm not sure if there exists one. I mean, you have to be tech savvy in that sense. And finance, where you have to, of course, build on your functional skill. So tech skill to aa jayega eventually.
Got it. Now I have a question. So Netflix, let's say, has been in India for the last 8 years or 7 years, right? So when we talk about growth, when we talk about an organization growing, right? So it takes many years. But how has the journey been for a globally recognized brand to enter a completely new market and then becoming also one of the most recognizable brands in the country? So if you can speak about that journey in the last 7 years, your observations and how things have changed, what's worked and what hasn't worked, that would be great.
Yeah. No, so when India came to, when Netflix came to India in the beginning, I mean, they saw a lot of promise here because we are a country of 1.4 billion people. Yeah.
Right.
China, of course, they are not in China, and there's so many companies from US they're not in China. So India automatically looks like a big promise. So it has not reached to those numbers, but of course they had been like $100 million, 100 billion subscriber in a couple of years, so on and so forth. But what has happened, and which has been journey pretty much for, I'm not sure about entertainment, but in the other sectors also, that first you come, you try and experiment. Netflix brings with it the most advanced the technology platform. Then building those teams in India, which takes a couple of years. You try and you experiment, and then you finally stabilize with the team. If you see the team which sort of came together for 3-4 years back, their product or their outcome we have started seeing from the last year. So the entire I would say change in terms of strategy, or we see the kind of films which are there or the series which are there is not something which has been done yesterday, but it has been done over the period of last 4 to 5 years. Planning and then working on those titles and execution and then getting them to life is something which has been done by this team, which has been led by the very capable people at this point of time. So I think that's how the journey has been. And then another breakthrough which has happened for India, I'm not sure whether it came from India, but that was accessibility and not the downloading stuff on mobile phone.
Yeah.
I think it came from India only because initially Netflix was not in favor of it, but then they realized that in a country like India, people watch a lot of stuff when they travel. लोग drive, not जब लोग कार में पीछे बैठे होते हैं और लोग when train में या buses में, they watch a lot of stuff, but हमारा internet is not sound throughout. People download when they are at home or when they have Wi-Fi access. I think that was a big boost also. That was an innovation which was specifically to the market of India.
Excellent. In your opinion, and I think we can, the last two questions for you. In your opinion, which was that one moment where you felt, okay, now we have sort of arrived. Now, this is also our home turf. What was that one show or one moment that really made Netflix explode in the country?
I don't think there's one moment. There have been, I think, a lot of moment, and there was not sudden explosion night, to be honest with you, that overnight it became success. It wasn't like that. I think every moment was a big moment, right from the Secret Games when it came.
Yes.
As an audience, it was a very different flavor in terms of the content, the marketing. From there, when it came to say probably, I can talk a recent example. Say Hira Mandi, which came. It's a different size and scale of having SLB on an OTT platform, to having Archie, something like Archie's last vision adoption by the talent. So this having Kareena Kapoor on the OTT debut last year. So I think these moments, what I remember from the past, or getting Raj and DK with something like I'm not able to recall that there was Guns and Gulabs, the kind of show, So I think all these moments have been very, very pivotal. Getting Rana Naidu, someone like Dana Dugapati, his success in the South, making him a mainstream actor now through Rana Naidu. I think all these moments have been very, very crucial and very, very important. And then, getting all these films which have been done so well. So Gangubai has done so well across the globe in so many countries. RRR, when it came to Netflix, so there's so many colleagues, friends, people I know in US. For them, the introduction to in Indian film industry is RRR.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think all these titles, all these films have been played a very instrumental, and all of these, and these are the names which I could recall at this point of time. But I think each and every title made that kind of impact or flavor which when it brought when it was launched time on the channel.
And I think the exposure also worked both ways. Like, for example, what you mentioned, our content, really transcending borders, even content from the Western countries. And I think especially during COVID, like, for example, a show like The Office, which has been off the air for a little over 8 years now, is now a global phenomena again. It's fine a new audience in India. It's one of the most viewed shows in the country. So even I think the benefit has worked both ways. Even India as a country is being exposed to some really new and amazing perspectives on talent. So I think with that, we can take one question. No, I think you have a hard stop at 4. So we'll just quickly wrap it up. Thank you, Atma. This has been absolutely insightful. And at one point, we had some 100 people in the attendance, and we've got some amazing questions. Sorry, guys, we won't be able to answer any more questions. If there are any, you can always email them to us, and we'll get Atma to answer them. You can watch a recording of this session on our YouTube channel, and please follow our socials for more of these sessions. It's called the Catalyst series. We try doing one every week. And thank you, Atma. Thank you so much for joining us and speaking with our students. And we really, really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend ahead, and bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great conversation. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the great questions. Take care. Bye-bye.